Hello, this is Verity from Expert Agent and welcome to your video tutorial on configuring areas. Now this video has come about because a lot of people do have an issue, or a lot of agents have issues configuring their areas to begin with, and areas are really important to get set up properly before you start adding properties and you start adding applicants. Now your areas are to do with your matching side of things. So if your areas aren't configured properly, you are going to have an issue matching out to things. Now we all know you've got the odd applicant who will look at a certain street but will only look at one side of it, will look at a certain town but will only look at a certain area of it, will look at a certain village but will only look at certain streets in that village. So the idea of matching, or the idea rather of your areas, is to get them set up as specifically as possible, so that the matching process within Expert Agent is much easier for you. So configuring your areas, you need to be a super user, so you need to have access to the tools and configuration menu. So we need to go tools and configuration, and under business configuration there's an option there to set up your areas. So we've got three columns there: regions, districts and locations. And what we need to think about really is to start by thinking backwards. So thinking of what locations you need to have in your locations column. So what it's going to do is it's going to branch out from regions into districts and then branch out into locations. So your locations are going to be the school catchment areas, the specific side of the street, the specific streets in the villages and things like that. That is what you're going to have in your locations column, the very specific area. So you're going to break it down. So one way a lot of agents do it is have in the regions column all areas. Then they have, let's say for example, if they cover Bath and Frome, you might have Bath, Bath villages, Frome, Frome villages. And then in locations you will have within Bath all the areas of Bath, within Bath villages all of the villages. You can of course start in the regions column with Bath and Frome, and then put Bath villages, Frome villages, and so on. Or you can actually start much further down the branch, if you will. So in your regions column, start with slightly smaller areas, so that when you get to locations, they are very small specific areas. It depends on how you want to do it. It depends on how you want your applicants to view them, because the applicants will see the locations column. So it depends on what you want that locations column to read. So I'm going to go with the example that we're going to start with all areas. So in the regions column, I'm going to click in add new region and put in there all areas and then save. If I now need to add a district to this, I need to click onto all areas and then click into add new district, and for example put in there Bath. If I then click into Bath to add the locations into Bath, I need to then select add new location and then save. Now if you cover multiple cities, for example, what you will need to do is not call that city centre, call that Bath city centre. Again, if you cover multiple towns and you've got town centres, let's say for example Bath is a city, Frome is a town, but if they were both, let's say if both of them were cities or if both of them were towns, I would need to put Frome under Frome Town Centre or Frome City Centre, just so that in that locations column, when you're viewing the entire branch of locations, when you're adding in a property, you don't have two city centres and you don't know which one is which. So you need to make sure that you are labelling them properly. So again, still got Bath district assigned. I need to then click on that one and add in a new location. So I'm adding these in, and you can see that they are going in alphabetical order. So that's how they will sit. They will sit in alphabetical order. They won't sit in the order that you add them into. So we're going to add a new region. So we're going to select all areas and then click add new district. So we're going to put in there Bath villages and then save. Click on Bath villages and then add new location. and save. Hinton Charterhouse and save. And save. So let's add another district. So on all areas, you select add new district and add in Frome. And then save. Click on Frome, add new location. So notice I put Frome Town Centre there, just in case we do start covering another town, then this isn't going to get confusing for people when they're adding properties in. So if we click back to Bath Villages just for a minute, you can see there we've got Catherine Hill. Now Catherine Hill is actually meant to be in Frome, not Bath Villages, but you can edit locations, so you can move them. So if I click on Catherine Hill, and I've got the option there to move location to, and I select Frome, so that will move the location in the districts column, and then you can select to move the districts in the region column as well. So select Frome and press move location, and then yes. So under Frome, we will now have Catherine Hill there as well. So add a new district. Click on Frome Villages, add a new location. So what I was saying at the beginning is you could start with, in regions column, your districts. Then in your district column, you could have your locations. And then within your locations column, you could have specific streets. So say, for example, within the Beckington, let's say Beckington was in districts, within Beckington, you could have your specific street names or the tiny little areas within Beckington. Beckington's actually quite a small village, so that might not work. But it depends on how you want to work with your areas there. Okay, once you've finished, you need to press save on that one. Do be aware that once you start adding properties in, try not to delete locations. If you have a property assigned to, let's say, for example, the Beckington location and you delete it, it will unassign that property to any area, and you will then need to go back to that property and reassign them to a new one. You can edit locations though. Let's say I'd spelt Beckington wrong. I put a K in it and it doesn't have a K in it. You can edit them and save, and any properties assigned to Beckington will automatically be edited as well. So save on the bottom there. So completing your areas, then what that means in the practical side of Expert Agent, once you start adding in applicants and properties. So let's go to applicant and we'll select add a new applicant, and I'll show you how those work from the requirements tab. So if you click onto the requirements tab of an applicant, you've got the location section here, and if you click on that black arrow, that will open up and it will go to your region column. It will then go districts and then locations. So those are your regions, your districts and your locations. Okay, so I went back and added all of those in, but you can see all of our locations are in there. Okay, so that's how it will work from the applicant side of things. So say, for example, this was a new applicant we were adding. They can be quite specific. They can go with all locations, which are our default locations rather, or they can be quite specific. So they don't want to be in Bath, but they like the Bath Villages, but they don't like Kelston. Okay, they don't want Frome. They like the Frome Villages, but they don't like Nunney. Okay. So you can be very specific or you can be very general by clicking all of them. So that's the idea of the areas. So they need to read like that so that when you're adding in applicants, you can be as specific as you need to be for your applicants so that they are matching out to only the properties that they want to view. So that's the end of that video tutorial. I really do hope you found it beneficial, and as ever, if there are any further questions, please do not hesitate to get in touch.